Every 33 seconds, someone in the United States dies from cardiovascular disease. This statistic is taken from the heartfoundation.org's website. So calculating that out, there are approximately 2,618 deaths every day from cardiovascular disease. That is the equivalent of a small rural community such as mine and yours being wiped out entirely each day from heart disease. According to the CDC's National Vital Statistic Report released in May of 2013 regarding final data collected on deaths in 2010, heart disease was the number one cause of death among Americans with 24.2% of all deaths that had occurred, scoring higher than all cancers combined. That devastating percentage is just for deaths from heart disease. According to the Heart Foundation's website, it is estimated that 80 million Americans are currently living with at least one form of heart disease. So that means that 1 out of every 4 of us are living with heart disease. But heart disease is a highly preventable disease. Through certain lifestyle changes such as diet and exercise, we can decrease our risk of becoming a part of this alarming statistic. However, exercise is the most significant factor. It is imperative that we get the CDC's weekly recommended amount of exercise in order to reduce the risks of developing cardiovascular disease, as well as many other debilitating and deadly diseases. I intend to give you a better understanding about heart disease and the risks associated with the lack of exercise, as well as how to make those lifestyle changes and the other benefits of getting regular exercise. Before we get into the problems associated with our lack of exercise, let's get a better understanding of cardiovascular disease itself. What is heart disease? Heart disease is defined by the American Heart Association as a common term used to describe numerous problems related to the buildup of plaque on the artery walls that could potentially lead to heart attack, stroke, or sudden death. Other forms of heart disease include heart failure, where the heart ineffectively pumps blood, arrhythmia, which is an irregular heartbeat, and heart valve problems, where the heart is unable to effectively open and close its valves. Some of these forms of heart disease come from non-modifiable risk factors such as age, gender, and family history. But there are numerous risk factors that are modifiable. Those risk factors include smoking, high blood pressure, high blood cholesterol, obesity, diabetes, and physical inactivity. The American Heart Association offers suggestions for decreasing your risk of developing heart disease. Those suggestions include avoid smoking, become more active, and to choose good nutrition. Of these 3 suggestions, becoming more active will have the biggest impact on changing the modifiable risks listed, which are devastating and costly by themselves. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention has set out guidelines which they consider to be an adequate amount in order to maintain a healthy lifestyle. They have broken it down into age ranges. Those within 6 to 17 years old are suggested to get 60 minutes of exercise each day and should be divided between aerobic, strength training, and bone building exercises. Those individuals 18 and older are suggested to get 2 hours and 30 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic activity each week, plus at least 2 days a week of muscle strengthening activities. That breaks down to approximately 30 minutes each day. But according to a Gallup poll conducted in June of 2013, the amount of Americans that get that amount of exercise has declined from 2012. The poll stated that approximately 53.8% of Americans were exercising regularly, being down 1.4% from the previous year. That is a step in the wrong direction, especially since there are 46.4% of Americans that aren't getting an adequate amount of exercise. These are numbers that we could really stand to improve upon. As you can see, there are many risk factors associated with being inactive, as well as data showing that we are not getting regular exercise. So let's look at some ways on how to get 30 minutes of exercise each day. There are many ways that we can get the daily recommended amount. If 30 minutes is too much to devote at one time, break it up. The CDC states on their website that it is okay to go for a 10-minute walk 3 times a day, as long as it is at a moderately intense pace. This could even mean 2 15-minute moderate intensity workouts daily, one when you wake up in the morning and the other on your lunch break or once you get back home. Exercising doesn't have to cost you money. There are many ways to increase activity without buying equipment. You can take the stairs and speed up your pace. Park further away at the grocery store and speed up your pace at the store. You can go for a walk in your community. The American Heart Association has many suggestions on their main website, as well as another site geared specifically toward increased activity called startwalkingnow.org. If you are still unsure of how to start, there are many other online sources to check out. Do a Google search on exercises or on how to start. Or if you're like me, do a search on Pinterest or look up applications available for your phone. There are numerous exercise plans and motivational tips there that help get you going. Now, if you have a current medical condition that makes exercise difficult, or if you just have questions, consult your doctor about what is best for you and your condition. There's always something for everyone. It may just need to be modified a little to best suit you. Now that you have a better understanding on how to fit 30 minutes of exercise a day, let me explain how exercise changes your body and what other benefits come from regular exercise. Exercise has many effects on our body, ones of which are shown immediately. When we exercise, our body calls on stored glucose and ATP for energy and muscle performance. When we exercise, our bodies call on stored glucose and ATP for energy and muscle performance. These stores are minimal, so when they are depleted, our body requires oxygen to produce more ATP. When our body calls for an amount of oxygen that is over our normal consumption, our breathing increases and our lungs take in more oxygen. Once we take in more oxygen, our heart rate increases to increase the flow of oxygen-rich blood to our muscles for better muscle performance. With the increase in blood flow, our brains will also benefit from the increase in oxygen. We are immediately more aware and alert. We oftentimes will experience the phenomena called runner's high. This is a euphoria that is created when the dumping of neurotransmitters into the body during exercise. These neurotransmitters can improve moods and decrease feelings of depression and anxiety. Even after the workout is over, we have the after effects of these neurotransmitters being released and are more focused and alert. This is just what happens with one workout. If we are to get regular exercise, our bodies learn from those experiences and become more efficient at taking in oxygen and pumping blood. Our arteries become more flexible, and exercise stimulates the growth of new blood vessels, decreasing our blood pressure and resting heart rate. Our brains also learn from regular exercise and are more efficient in utilizing certain parts in cellular function, thus reducing our risk of neurological diseases such as Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and dementia. In a new study published in the American Heart Association journal, Stroke, older, non-disabled people who exercise regularly or engage in physical activity reduce the risk of vascular-related dementia by 40% and cognitive impairment of an etiology by 60%. So, getting regular exercise not only improves our body's ability to function, but we are able to decrease expenditures in the long run. People who are physically active are able to save an average of $500 per year on healthcare costs. Not to mention, by reducing just one healthcare risk, we increase our productivity in the workplace by 9% and decrease absenteeism by 2%. This is also attractive with being business students because those employers that invest in a worksite wellness program could potentially see a $16 return on every $1 invested. Fitness programs in the workplace have reduced employer healthcare costs between 20 and 55%. In a study conducted at Johnson & Johnson, it was shown that since 1995, the number of smokers had declined by more than 66%, and the amount of those with high blood pressure and inactivity had decreased more than 50%. Johnson & Johnson had saved approximately $250 million in healthcare costs between 2000 and 2010. That's a lot of money that can be invested into another aspect of employee health and wellness or safety standards. So, as you can easily see, exercise is one of the most important things that we can do on a daily basis to help ourselves live a healthier, happier life. I've told you about the most deadly disease that is a result from inactivity, how easy it is to get 30 minutes each day, as suggested by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, and how exercise is a benefit to our bodies and our bank accounts. Exercising can be easy. The first step is to get up and move. You never know, with 1 out of 4 people being diagnosed with cardiovascular disease, you may just be that one. There is no better time than the present to start safeguarding yourself. So, I will leave you with this. The question isn't can you, it's will you.